Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian at the 34th Annual Symposium of the Naval Submarine League, and we're in Arlington, Virginia, and we have with us the former commander of the U.S. Submarine Force, Vice Admiral Mike Connors. Sir, thanks very much for joining us.
Oh, it's great to see you again, Vago.
I want you to tell everybody, you're now the CEO of ThayerMahan, and tell us a little bit about what this company is, what you founded in January, and what you hope to accomplish with it.
Sure. Well, you saw during this symposium that we have a lack of capacity in undersea warfare capability. And I left the Navy last year with that same frustration that you've heard expressed today. So what I sought to do is look for how do we solve this problem quickly, and how do we energize American technology and industry to pursue something quickly and implement it quickly. And I decided the best way to do that was to go out and seek private capital, present them with my ideas for solving this problem, and building a company around that in a way that could move at essentially Silicon Valley speed. And that's what we did. So we went to Wall Street, we took our pitch deck, we got some funding, we built some industry partnerships, we built a prototype. From the time that we started until the time we successfully tested a prototype was 7 months. And now I'm here, just like many other people are, advertising our capabilities, meeting with government officials with the hope that we can get their assistance in implementing this capability at the speed of American industry.
What are some of the, obviously there were a whole series of challenges. Acoustic, maintaining the acoustic edge is one of the things obviously the U.S. Navy wants to do. That was something that was one of the many things, and also improve the U.S. anti-submarine warfare advantage. In so much as you can discuss it, what are some of the specific areas, or as close to them that you can discuss, that you can help scratch some specific Navy itches?
Well, there are challenges in autonomy. There are challenges on unmanned vehicles in power management. There are challenges in the seakeeping of unmanned vehicles. And so what we did was we looked around the universe, so to speak, for what's a good enough vehicle that we could start with. We found a very, very good base platform in the using liquid robotics technology, and perhaps you've talked to some of them here today.
Funny enough, we have. We talked to Don a little earlier today.
And then we went out to see if there was a suitable acoustic system that could operate within the power demands and have the capabilities that we wanted. And we found out, well, that there wasn't. So we found a very good company up in the MIT area in Boston, and they designed a custom system for us that has amazing capabilities for detecting, tracking, classifying contacts, and we matched that with a suitable sonar system and some other technologies so that we could deploy our sensor in a way that people told me a year ago couldn't be deployed. And so I've had the pleasure really over the last month or so of taking our sea trial results, showing people the art of the possible. And now we're looking at getting in and showing how we can scale that capability so that we can deliver on some of the needs that were demonstrated in this conference.
You're sort of an innovator, you're trying to carve out a niche, but oftentimes government contracting is a bit of a challenge, especially for a new guy who's starting up. And as well with the submarine community that has a very show-me culture, and it's like, well, these things are written in blood, and so I'm not willing to, part with. What do you see the changes that, putting on your new hat, but also knowing your old hat, about where you think greater flexibility has to be exhibited if you're going to innovate at the rate that, for example, the Chief of Naval Operations, John Richardson, wants in higher velocity learning and higher velocity innovation?
So on your first part of that question, showing how, the show-me culture, we're big fans of that. That was our intent. We wanted to tell people what we were trying to do, and then we're more than happy to show them exactly what we did do, so that they know that this is not just some pitch, that it's actually a real prototype, a real device with real capabilities, with demonstrated capabilities. So that takes care of the first part of the question. Now we're into, okay, Navy, okay, government, so to speak. You want to be faster. We have found some people in the private sector who will deliver on the speed that you've asked for. Now over to you. Do you have the ability to implement technology at the speed that your country can generate it. And if we can do that, we'll get much better faster, just like the CNO wants. If we can't do that, then there's no point in having all this innovative technology, all these aggressive people out there in industry, because you haven't found a way to capture it. So we're confident that with the direction Admiral Richardson has taken the Navy, that they will find a way to actually acquire at the speed of technology. Or we might say high velocity learning for the acquisition community is also required.
Well, and part of the show me thing was also on the submarine forces side and on the Navy side. There can be a conservatism sometimes. Even though you got a great idea, then everybody looks at acquisition regs and says, okay, well, it doesn't matter if Mike's got a brilliant idea. Now we have to compete it, and everybody else gets to play ball. Where do you think the balance point is to be able to innovate while still, living within the guardrails of the regs?
We have to remember what world we're in. We don't have people in the vehicles. We don't have nuclear reactors. We don't have weapons on the vehicles. So we ought to take a very different approach to risk. The risk approach is all about, there's mission risk, there's financial risk, there's risk of failure, but all those risks are much smaller. So we should be much more ambitious, much more creative, much more ready to move quickly, so that at the end of the day, although there might be some stumbles and failures along the way, by taking a less risk-averse approach, we'll actually get further down the line, even if there are a couple of stumbles along the way.
And how big are you today, and where do you want to be in, say, 5 years?
We're relatively small today. We've outsourced a lot of our engineering to other companies with a small nucleus in the sort of the design area, and then we want to expand within really a couple of years to actually being sort of hundreds of people, including those who build things, who design, build, and then assist the Navy in any way that they want us to with deployment, including we can do the whole deployment cycle for them and feed the data, or we can assist them with the vehicles themselves, with managing the data that comes off of literally up to hundreds of vehicles in a way that is very efficient for the fleet.
So you're also looking at a service model where the Navy just buys a service from you.
We're going to provide that option and see if they want to take that. In many ways, that's the most flexible option for the customer, because they don't have to buy into the development timeline. They can just say, provide me a service. If it works, I'll pay for it. If it doesn't work, I won't pay for it. And we're happy to play by those rules, and we think we can deliver quickly, we can deliver flexibly, and that provides them a lot more ways that they can use our capability.
And how many people are you now, though, in terms of the core staff?
Right now, our core staff is less than 10 people.
Wow, so you guys are really leveraging, that's an enormous amount of progress for 10 people in this business.
So we have some good teammates in companies that are much bigger than we are. So we're leveraging their capabilities. We're helping, we create the vision, and then we show different companies how their capabilities could do so much more if they were partnered with the capabilities of another company and then integrated by us. And that's exactly what we're doing. So we're actually leveraging the capabilities of companies that are between 10 and maybe 100 times bigger than we are.
Let me ask you one investor question, because now as CEO, you're now, you convinced all these people, but folks who have a tendency of investing in high-tech firms like this have expectations of return that are very, very aggressive. And Silicon Valley people have told me, look, we're very interested in doing business with the Pentagon, but you guys spend 5 years having meetings to meet, and I have to show results in 5 months, in 5 weeks. What's the challenge for you as somebody who's raised this money, started this thing, to keep investors together, to match the time cycle, unfortunately, at which the government moves?
Well, the thing we have as an advantage is that the government is starting to recognize that we have competitors out there who move very quickly. We have technology that turns over almost completely in 3 years. So if we can match the acquisition timeline to the realities of the competition timeline and the technology timeline, the investor problem will solve itself.
Admiral, fair winds and following seas.
Thanks, Vago. Great to see you again.